Hello children, how do you do? Hope you are healthy and happy. Before beginning the session, I want to tell you the three ways through which man can function. Number 1, recollective. Number 2, recreative. And number 3, creative. Recollective means imitating somebody else's great action. Recreative means replicating his own great actions. And creative means creating new ideas and concepts which will be crystalline. So my dear children, among these three, creativity is greater than recreativity and recreativity is greater than recollectivity. By saying this, I move on to the session. Today we are going to begin with a new lesson, that is chapter 8, the paths traversed by life. You can see here the child, many children, many people, they are there in the museum and they are going through many things in the museum. That time a child, she is thinking, if Earth and Mars originated in the same way, wouldn't there be organisms on Mars like Earth? So we can see the child's doubt, isn't it? And based on that thing, it is asked, how did the planets including Earth originate? How might have life originated? Is there life on other planets? All such questions surely will be coming in the mind of scientists. And in this manner, science has been able to put forth certain hypotheses on how Earth and life, or we can say on how Earth and life originated, isn't it? And the more predominant theory on the origin of life on Earth, it was being accepted by the scientific world, is the chemical evolution theory. And panspermia hypothesis is also there, which is widely discussed hypothesis. We can see what is panspermia concept and what is chemical evolution theory. Panspermia concept, it tells that life originated in some other planets in the universe and accidentally reached the Earth. According to the panspermia concept, it is been said that life has originated in some other planet and it has reached to the Earth accidentally. And next hypothesis being given by A.I. Oparin and J.B.S. Haldane, that is the theory of chemical evolution, and it states that life originated as a result of the changes that occurred in the chemical substances in sea water under specific conditions in primitive Earth. So the chemical evolution theory is saying that life has originated and it has originated as a result of changes which occurred in the chemical substances in the sea water. And based on this that is J.B.S. Haldane and A.I. Oparin, they are the proponents of this theory. And based on this hypothesis, illustration 8.1, we can see what is the theory of chemical evolution. So in this theory, we can see the first one, atmosphere of primitive Earth. In the primitive Earth, the gases like hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, water vapor, hydrogen sulfide, etc. were present and no free oxygen was available there. And the source of energy which was present there during the primitive Earth was thunder and lightning, ultraviolet radiations and volcanic eruptions. Now what happened? These gases as well as the source of energy, they were in combination and a chemical reaction took place. Because of that, what happened? Condensation of water vapor present in the atmosphere and the resulting incessant rain led to the formation of ocean. That is, condensation of water vapor took place in the primitive Earth, and because of that, continuous rain took place for millions and millions of years, and that led to the formation of oceans. And later on in the ocean, simple organic molecules were formed in the form of amino acid, monosaccharide, nitrogen bases, fatty acids, etc. And these simple molecules, they reacted with each other and thus complex organic molecules were formed such as protein, polysaccharide, nucleotide, lipids, etc. And again in the ocean, these complex inorganic molecule as well as the simple organic molecules, they reacted with each other. Thus nucleic acid and lipid layer is formed, and later on, after a long process, primitive cell is formed. This is how the chemical evolution theory is telling or describing about the origin of life on earth, which took place in the sea water, which is very, very important, my dear children. You have to study it. The first indicator is atmosphere of primitive earth peculiarity. In the case of atmosphere of primitive earth, we can see there hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, water vapor, hydrogen sulfide are the gases, and no free oxygen was available. Number 2, it has been asked about the source of energy. The source of energy which was present there in the primitive earth was thunder and lightning, ultraviolet radiation, and volcanic eruption. And next one, formation of ocean. How the ocean is formed? It was through the condensation of water vapor present in the atmosphere, which resulted in the continuous rain, and thus that led to the formation of ocean. And the chemical reaction that led to the formation of cell. Which is the chemical reaction that led to the formation of cell? The chemical reaction between simple organic molecule and complex organic molecule led to the formation of primitive cell. Now next one, you can see here the scientific basis of this hypothesis regarding the origin of life was later proved through various experiments. The chemical evolution theory, which was given by the two scientists Oparin and Haldane, was later on proved through various experiments. The first experiment which was given here is Urey and Miller experiment. Urey and Miller conducted their experiment by artificially recreating the atmosphere of primitive earth that contained methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor, and by taking these components or compound, or we can say substances, they completed their experiment, and you can analyze the illustration 8.2 related to Urey-Miller experiment based on chemical evolution theory. In this experiment, we can see this is the apparatus where heat energy is provided. In this vessel, water is being taken, and you can see here electric energy has been provided, and in this vessel methane, ammonia, and water vapor is being taken, and condenser is provided there, and later on when the experiment was conducted, as a sedimentation, amino acid was being seen there in the form of sediment. And you can see here, in the place of natural energy sources like thunder and lightning in the primitive earth, in this experiment, high voltage electricity was passed through the gaseous mixture in the glass flask. Now when observed what happened after the experiment, organic molecules such as amino acids were found, and that finally gave more acceptance to Oparin-Haldane hypothesis. So in this manner, through many experiments, the Oparin-Haldane scientists who gave hypothesis based on the origin of life on earth was accepted by the scientific world, as through many experiments it was proved that life has originated in the ocean, or we can say in the sea water. This one is again important indicator. Atmosphere of primitive earth and chemical components in the glass flask. We have seen what is atmosphere in the primitive earth. Gases were present there, and no free oxygen was available that time, and the components present in the glass flask we have seen just now. It is methane, ammonia, water vapor, isn't it? And next one, organic molecules formed after the chemical reaction. After conducting Urey-Miller experiment, the organic molecule which is being formed there was amino acid. And you can see again in the ocean of primitive earth, organic compounds were formed due to chemical evolution that continued for millions of years. In the ocean, it is been said that organic compounds were formed there, and the formation of that compound was been there for millions of years ago, and based on this, major events related to origin of life is been illustrated in the form of geological time scale. We can see what is that an illustration. You can see that is also very important. This is geological time scale illustration, and here you can see this line. This shows the millions of years ago. So it has been said here 3800 millions of years ago origin of life on earth took place. That is a primitive cell. You can see here it is the primitive cell. Now next one, it has been said about 3500 millions of years ago origin of prokaryote took place. Origin of prokaryote took place. And 1500 millions of years ago origin of eukaryotes took place. And later on in the same way, colony of eukaryotes also formed there, and 1000 millions of years ago origin of multicellular organisms were formed. This is how the geological time scale is providing us detail about the origin of life on earth and what all changes took place till now. This is again important. So this order you have to study, my dear children. Number 1, primitive cell, number 2, prokaryotes, number 3, eukaryotes, number 4, colonies of eukaryotes, and number 5, multicellular organism. That is very important. It used to come in the question paper. Indicate a primitive cell. When primitive cell originated? It is 3800 millions of years ago. Origin of prokaryotes 3500 millions of years ago. Origin of eukaryotes 1500 millions of years ago. Appearance of multicellular organism, it is 1000 millions of years ago. I think you would have understood about the geological time scale based on the origin of life on earth. Now it has been said that researchers all over the world are still striving to unravel the mystery related to origin of life on earth. Presence of life on other planet is also a main area of research. So we can see what are the theories or evidences for the evolution, isn't it? So evolution through theories. Many scientists have attempted to explain the history of evolution from primitive cells to the biodiversity that exists today. Many scientists, they were into research to explain through their theories how the primitive earth was there, and from in that primitive earth how the primitive cell formed, and from the primitive cell today's biodiversity formed. And the first person or the first scientist among these scientists was Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. He was a French biologist, and he has given the theory called Lamarckism. And according to Lamarckism, the characters developed during the lifetime of an organism are called acquired character. So what is Lamarckism? It is the characters developed during the lifetime of an organism. During the lifetime of an organism, if a character is developed, that is called acquired character. Now, according to Lamarck, giraffes had short necks in the beginning. When they faced food scarcity, they stretched their neck to reach out to tall trees. Thus, giraffe with long necks emerged through generation. This is the concept given by Lamarck through his theory, Lamarckism. He said that before, in the beginning, giraffe were having short neck and they were happy with their life. But later on, when drought came, that time what happened? They were not able to eat the grass because grass were not available. So they tried to reach to the tree for getting the leaf, and in that attempt, the neck of the giraffe stretched. So that was an acquired character during the life period of giraffe, which was being taken or acquired in the body of the giraffe, and later on it has been said that generation to generation these changes took place, and now what giraffe is having is a long neck. So that was the concept given by Lamarck, and this argument was not accepted by the scientific world as these acquired characters are not inheritable. As Lamarck said that giraffe has acquired the character of stretching the neck, but this argument was not accepted by the scientific world because the acquired character cannot be inherited from one generation to another generation. Now next one is related to the, you can see here figure 8.1 related to the stretching of neck of giraffe. In the first figure you can see the neck of giraffe is short, but later on when drought was there, they started to try to reach the tree for getting the leaf, and in that attempt they were able to stretch their neck, and in that manner the giraffe which we are seeing today, they have got the long neck. That was a concept given by Lamarck in the theory called Lamarckism. Now the next theory related to the evolution was given by Darwin, or we can say Charles Robert Darwin. He was an English naturalist, and based on Darwinism, Darwin had wrote a book called Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. Darwin has wrote a book called Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, which is again very important. And Darwin, he has gone to Galapagos Island. There Darwin has conducted many experiments based on the evolution, and based on that experiment Darwin has given this text, and that is Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. Now here you can see when Darwin was there at Galapagos Island, he saw finches. And what are finches? Finches are small birds with small beak, or we can say short beak. So finches were one among the organisms observed and closely studied by Darwin in Galapagos Island. The difference in the beaks of these finches attracted Darwin. What is the thing what attracted Darwin? It was the difference in the beak of the finches which he saw in the Galapagos Island. Now we can see the illustration 8.4 related to the Darwinism theory given by Charles Darwin. You can see here Galapagos finches, different types of finches are there. This is the ancestor finch, insectivorous finch, cactus eating finch, small ground finch, large ground finch, tree finch, medium sized tree finch, and woodpecker finch. We can see the difference in their beak, isn't it? That is the peculiarity which Darwin also noticed in these finches. And later on Darwin said that insectivorous finches have small beaks, whereas cactus plants have long and sharp beaks. Woodpecker finches that used sharp beaks to pick small twigs, whereas ground finches, they feed on seeds with large beaks. And based on this indicator is there, which peculiarity of the finches attracted Darwin? It is the difference in the beak of the finches attracted the Darwin. How do these peculiarities help finches in their survival? The answer for this question is this one, that is, they had beaks adapted to their feeding habit. The peculiarities which help finches in their survival is that they had beaks adapted to their feeding habits. Now next one, based on Charles Darwin concept, another idea that influenced Darwin's speculation about the diversity of beaks of finches was that of Thomas Robert Malthus. He was an economist. He said that rate of food production is not proportionate to the growth of human population. Human population is growing very rapidly, but the rate of food production is not reaching to that level. So we can say that, or Robert Malthus has said that the rate of food production is not proportionate to the rate of human population. And later on Thomas Robert Malthus pointed out that if scarcity of food is taking place, surely it will be leading to diseases, starvation, and struggle for existence. And based on this, we can analyze illustration 8.5, where the main concept of theory of natural selection was put forward by Darwin by incorporating Malthus' idea. Malthus said that scarcity of food will be leading to disease, starvation, and struggle for existence, and that concept was being incorporated in the theory of natural selection given by Darwin. So we can see what is theory of natural selection. This one is very, very important, my dear children. You have to study it. So you can see illustration 8.5, theory of natural selection. Organisms with variations. When overproduction takes place, struggle for existence takes place, and due to that, those with no favorable variations will be producing, as well as those with favorable variations will be producing. Variations means changes will be taking place, isn't it? Now, if there is no favorable changes is taking place in the organism, they will be destroyed. And if there is a favorable variation or changes taking place in an organism, surely through natural selection that organism will be surviving. And as that organism will be surviving, surely in that organism favorable variation is there which will be transferred to the next generation, and it will be accumulated and it will be inherited through generation to generation, and because of that origin of new species will be taking place. That was a concept given by Darwin in his theory of natural selection. I think you would have understood about the theory of natural selection. It is very, very important, my dear children. You have to study it as such because it used to come in this way. You have to go through it. Again, I will repeat it. When overproduction takes place, struggle for existence takes place, and due to that, the organisms with no favorable variation or no changes will be formed, and the organisms with favorable variations or changes will be formed. And if the organism who is not having any changes, that organism will be destroyed, and the organism those who are having favorable variation or changes, they will be surviving through natural selection. As they are surviving, surely in them favorable variations are there which will be transferred to the next generation, and in this manner accumulation of this variation will be there and it will be inherited generation to generation, and due to that origin of new species will be taking place. This is the illustration of theory of natural selection which is being given by Charles Darwin. Next one, you can see here indicator circumstances that led to severe competition among organism. What was the circumstances that led to the severe competition among organism? It is being said that food, space and mates, isn't it? The circumstances is overproduction of organism, and it has been said that the rate of food production is not proportionate to the rate of human population. So, the overproduction will be leading to such kind of competition among organisms. Now, variations and natural or selections. So, when overproduction is taking place, surely what will happen? There will be struggle for existence taking place, and because of that favorable variations will be formed there, and these favorable variations they will be surviving because of natural selection. And those organisms which don't have any variations or changes in their life, they will be destroyed. Next one, origin of new species. When the organisms with favorable variations, when they survive through natural selection, surely in them these variations will be accumulated and it will be inherited from generation to generation, and thus origin of new species will be taking place. That is related to indicator of that. And now you can see here, though Darwin identified that continuous variations occurred in organism, he could not explain the reasons for these variations. He said that variations are taking place and it is being transmitted from one generation to generation, but he was not able to explain how the variations took place or what is the reason behind the variation, as during his period there was no idea regarding genes, chromosome, etc. That is the reason he was not able to explain the reason for the variations which is taking place in the organism. Now, Darwinism was revised in the light of new information from the field of genetics, cytology, geology and paleontology. So, Darwinism was given by Charles Darwin. After his period, again this theory was taken back and it was revised in the field of genetics. We know that what is genetics? It is related to the genes, Cytology means it is related to the cells. Geology means it is related to the earth, and paleontology means it is related to the fossils. So based on these areas, informations were collected, and the modified version of Darwinism was again came into the scientific world, and the modified version of Darwinism was given the new name, and that is known as Neo-Darwinism. So Neo-Darwinism is the new version of Darwinism, and later on mutation theory was put forward by Hugo de Vries, and we know that what is mutation? It is the sudden changes that occur in genes. When a sudden changes which take place in the genes, surely what will happen? Variations will be taking place, and we will be getting different types of organisms, isn't it? This theory was formulated by a Dutch scientist, Hugo de Vries. Mutation that cause variation led to the evolution of species. So again it is been said that mutation theory is also mutation is also causing variation, and it is the one of the theory which is one of the important factor where mutation is leading to the evolution of species. So mutation theory, which was given by Hugo de Vries, is explaining about the evolution of species through mutation which is happened in the organism. So my dear children, I am winding the session here, and what you have to do is that you have to go through today's session 2 or 3 or 4 times, as it is an interesting chapter. When you will be studying it more and more, you will be able to understand it more and more, and you will be getting the concept very clear. So my dear children, go through it, understand it, and if you are having any doubt related to today's session, please give me a call so that I can help you to solve your problem. By saying this, I wind this session here. We will be meeting in the next session. Till then, take care.